April 1st, 2020. Unfortunately, due to the current conditions, we have to do our meetings this way. The gentlemen, Brian and Jason, I want to thank you both very much for doing this. And there is a number posted that people can see to call in if they have, correct? Okay. All right. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes. I only have the February 5th minutes. Can I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Can I have a second? I have a second.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to take a roll call vote. Okay, Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. Okay, next I just want to move on, since we don't have the minutes to approve for February 19th or March 4th. I want to go through the continued request for continuance to the April 15th meeting. So nobody's hanging on the line looking for one of these issues. So I need a motion to continue public hearing, notice of intent, Pepti Corporation, 600 Woburn Street, map 3, lot 82, DEP 3051106. Can I have that made a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'm going to roll call a vote again. Mr. McMullen,
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
chair votes aye as well. Next is item C. We need a motion to continue a public hearing, notice of intent, John Faneros, ACC Realty, 1037 North Street, in 1547, 1553, 156th Street, Andover Street, map 39, lot 45-48, DEP number 3051077. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. McMullen,
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
chair votes aye as well. Okay, item D. It's continued notice of intent, Richard Montori, Town of Tewksbury, Town Manager, 135 Pleasant Street, map 47, lot 40, DEP number 3051103. The applicant has requested a continuance to April 15, 2020. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. McMullen,
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
chair votes aye as well. Next is item F. Continue public hearing, notice of intent, Mark Ginsburg and Ani Martel, 325 Marshall Street, map 32, lot 3, DEP number 3051107. The applicant has requested a continuance to April 15, 2020. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in, okay, roll call vote. Mr. McMullen,
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
chair votes aye as well. Now we have item J, public hearing notice of intent. Kazajian Enterprises Incorporated, 2512 Main Street, map 94, lot 65, DEP number pending. The applicant is requesting a continuance to April 15th, 2020. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Mr. McMullen,
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
chair votes aye as well. Now we're back to item A. This was a continued from public hearing, notice of intent, Scott Kelly, R.J. Kelly Company, Burt Road Development, map 115, lot 4, Route 93, off map 115, lot 5, Route 93, map 115, lot 6, Route 93, map 115, lot 7, South Street Land, and map 115, lot 8, Route 93 and beyond, DEP number 3051093. Is there anybody here to speak on this issue?
Yes, hi. My name's Peter Ellison from TEC.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing tonight?
Good, yourself?
Good, good. I think it's been a few months since I've been, the project's been in front of the commission, so I'll just give a brief update. The property is split between Tewksbury and Andover. We've been working with both towns to address stormwater comments. Was peer reviewed in the town of Andover and also reviewed by Tewksbury's town engineer, Kevin Hardiman. I'm happy to report that both of those reviewers have given clean letters. All those comments have been addressed. The minor changes to the project, the wetlands were delineated, the delineation changed within the town of Andover, so not necessarily something that affects your board. The stormwater was updated, and the larger of the two warehouse buildings was reduced in size by about 13,000 square feet. We're still, respecting all the local buffer zones for the town of Tewksbury. So that being said, I'd turn it back over to you and see if you have any questions for me.
Okay, so nothing has changed since our last meeting on the Tewksbury side, correct?
Just the size of the larger building has shrunk in size, but the location and the layout of the everything else has stayed the same.
So it's the same footprint. Stefan, you have any comments?
So I did read the letter from engineering. They were okay with it. So my only other thing would be that I do have a few conditions I recommended in my memo to the commission.
Mhm.
And then we will need to just give brief summaries of the last two hearings so that everyone can vote tonight.
Okay, do you have the summary?
I do, and I can read those whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. So this is from the public hearing for September 18th, 2019. The consultant for the applicant gave an introduction and summary of the notice of intent and the property. They explained the property is within Andover and Tewksbury, and they are proposing a warehouse which will be split between the towns. They discussed the wetland resource areas on site and that the site was mapped as priority habitat, and as a result, the proposal was being reviewed by the state. The conservation agent noted that the commission would have to wait to make a determination on the notice of intent until October 7th, 2019, in order to allow for time for the state to issue their review letter. The consultant explained that they have been in contact with the state about their review as well. The hearing was open to the public and no one came forward. The notice of intent was continued to October 9th, 2019. And then I also have the summary for October 9th, 2019. And for that hearing, the consultant for the applicant was present to provide an update on the proposal. He explained that since the last hearing, the commission's peer reviewer conducted a site inspection to review the wetland delineations, and that his review letter was issued with recommendations on additional erosion controls. It was explained that stormwater management was still under review by the town, and that Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program reviewed the project and determined it would not adversely affect the habitat. No one from the public came forward during the public hearing, and the notice of intent was continued to November 6th, 2019. And that's all I have for the summaries.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Is anybody in the audience or on the phone would like to comment? We'll wait a couple minutes there or whatever we have to wait. Brian, just let me know if somebody calls in. If they don't, we'll just keep moving along.
Absolutely. So far, we have no calls, but we should probably give it another 15 seconds.
Okay.
Still no calls. I think the stream's caught up by now.
Okay. All right. Board members, any questions? Mr. McMullen,
No questions.
Mr. Ronan,
No questions.
Mr. Sheehan.
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman.
I have one question, and that is, you said that Andover changed their delineation.
Yes, sir. Their commission also hired a third-party peer reviewer, Ann Martin of LEC. And we've been working with her for over several months to finalize that delineation. There was an additional area of wetlands within the town of Andover that was not originally delineated as part of the project, but that is reflected on the latest plans that were filed with your commission.
Okay, so this has not been approved by the Andover Conservation Commission yet, correct?
Not yet, no.
Okay. So did the delineation make the lot smaller?
It did, yeah. It did. It made the lot, the buildable area of the lot smaller by probably, I don't know, 10,000 square feet or so, I would say.
Okay.
We've had to redesign the main parking area this is all within the town of Andover. We had to redesign that and relocate a lot of spaces, but the current design within Andover fully respects their local setbacks as well. I think they don't allow pavement within 50 feet of a wetland, and that was the reason why we had to redesign that area.
Okay, Stefania, do you have any comments on that?
No, nothing to comment about the wetlands in Andover. I do just have a question for the commission if they have taken a look at my special conditions and if they want to add anything or if they agree with them or if I should read them for the record.
I would read them for the record, please.
Okay. So I recommend number one is the standard order of conditions that the Conservation Commission has, which is the conditions 1 through 19. And then the second one would be a detailed construction schedule and plan shall be submitted to the Conservation Commission or its agent prior to the start of work. This shall include details on any project phasing being implemented, details on temporary erosion control measures being used in the interior of the site to control site runoff, and any other site stabilization strategies being used. The limit of clearing shall be marked by survey and inspected by the agent prior to clearing and during the tree clearing operation. The limit of erosion controls shall be marked in the field by survey and inspected by the agent after tree clearing and prior to any additional work proceeding. 2 sets of erosion controls shall be used during the work, a silt fence in conjunction with a 12-inch diameter straw wattle. The SWIP inspector shall provide a copy of the SWIP inspection reports to the conservation agent on a bi-weekly basis until such time that the exposed areas on the site are minimized. The SWIP inspector and the conservation agent will determine when monitoring reports are no longer required. And then the last one is just the letter prepared by Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program shall be made part of the findings for the order of conditions. And that's just from my letter to the Conservation Commission dated March 27th, 2020, and the conditions were condition 1 through 7.
Okay, any questions from board members?
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions. It looks like a pretty nice site to me.
Okay, Mr. McMullen, any questions? You still there? Mr. Ronan, any questions?
No questions for me.
Okay, so in the form of a motion, we're going to attach what she had just read, which is a letter dated March 27, 2020. With a standard order of condition plus the conditions Stefania just read on the letter dated March 27th, 2020. Could I have a motion, or would somebody like to make a motion to approve or disapprove of this item? Since no more comments, what I'm gonna ask is a motion. I don't have any issues with it other than my concern was the Andover, why they changed it, but he did explain that. So I'm going to entertain a motion to approve notice of intent, Scott Kelly, R.J. Kelly, Incorporated, Burt Road, Development Map 115, Lot 4, Route 93, Map 115, Lot 5, Route 93, off Map 115, Lot 6, Map 115, Lot 7, South Street Land, Map 115, Lot 8, Route 93 and beyond, DEP number 3051093 with the standard order of conditions and the items Stefania stated in her letter dated March 27th, 2020. Incorporated. Before I entertain that motion, does the applicant have any questions on that motion?
No, I was able to review those conditions with my client ahead of time, and we're good with all of them. Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, what's next? All right. Okay, next on the agenda is Stefan, correct me if I'm wrong. Notice of intent, Patricia Donahue, Live Life Home, 60 Shawshene Avenue, map 112, lot 69, DEP number 3051110.
Correct.
Okay, is there anybody here for that?
Hi, Pat, can you hear me?
I can hear you,
Pat,
yeah.
can you hear me? Oh,
Yep.
good. Okay, great. Okay, I apologize. I don't have video feed, but I have a face for radio, so don't worry about that. My name is David Cowell. I'm a senior wetland scientist with Hancock Associates on behalf of the applicant. This is a continued public hearing for a notice of intent that we had submitted in request for an order to permit. It's a single-family home tear-down rebuild. The resource area is there. There's bordering vegetated wetland at the southern side of the property. There's a steep gradient embankment on which the existing house and the new house will be elevated above towards the roadway. During the first public hearing, one of the things that we had coordinated with the commission was that there's a small element of work proposed in the no disturb zone. We had I think we had worked our way through a waiver that I think that the commission was amenable to at the last hearing. One was that we had demonstrated that initially when our client came to us, we had a concept plan that was for a monstrous house that would not meet any performance standards. We had some pre-filing coordination with Stefania in terms of whittling down to be less than 10% of the no build zone. And we managed to get it down to, I think the final was 9.1%, which the commission appeared to be amenable to the last hearing. The mitigation we had offered is that we're going to do invasive species management and removal throughout the entire 100-foot buffer zone to the house. And then for restoration, so one of the things, So as of the close of the last hearing, the commission seemed pretty amenable to the project, but we hadn't had a DEP file number issued, so we needed to continue. And the commission had, there were really two remaining questions of the commission that we were asked to provide additional detail to. It was valid questions pertaining to how they propose to stabilize the slope below the house. There's a retaining wall provided or proposed. And we were just asked additional details on erosion and sediment controls. So what we've done is we've provided Stefania with a revised plan. I see you guys looking down if you guys can see the plan in front of you. Do you guys have print copies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So we've added some details to the plan. One is the sediment controls that we're proposing to use are silt fence reinforced with stake straw bales, which that's going to be the primary sediment control. It's a pretty beefy control that can, it's more load bearing than your standard wattles to capture material below it. I've seen these retaining walls installed on other projects. I watched one go in on a project in Acton recently, and I was actually surprised by how minimal their footprint was when they installed the footings to the retaining wall and then built up upon that. I was amazed that they were able to cut it without collateral damage down slope and down gradient of that. The other detail we were asked to provide, one of the other things that we proposed as well is some live stakings of willow at the toe slope down there. I think that the slope in the existing additions could use some additional vegetative stabilization. So the tubulings, they're live stakings from New England wetland plants that you can put in at the toe of slope that I think will beef up the existing conditions out there. And then we also proposed some native shrubs to plant just to fill in the area. We haven't specified which species. I would recommend sweet pepper bush. It's a lovable native species, very easy to come by, and I think it would be suitable for that area. And the one remaining, there was an administrative item that I think we worked with Stefania that the reason that we didn't have our DEP number issued was our filing fees were incorrect. We had filed as a category 1 for single family home rework, but they had clarified that tear down rebuild would be a new family home and we owed additional filing fees. So we've coordinated with Stefania. I think we owe some additional local fees that are, as the saying is, check is in the mail.
Okay, so that doesn't do us any well if the check is in the mail. Board members, any questions?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Would anybody like to call in or comment? And we'll give a couple minutes. Brian, if you can just give me the high sign when the time is up.
Sure, I'll let you know. So far, we have no callers. It should be caught up in probably about 15 seconds. The delay is not too much.
Okay, while we're waiting, if anybody has a phone call, I do have a question. How high is that retaining wall?
The retaining wall proposed, it needs to be designed by a structural engineer. It's going to be over 4 feet. As it's specified on our plan, it shows heights of 5 to 6 feet. So one of the conditions I would recommend putting in an order of conditions is that planned or spec designs for retaining wall must be submitted to the Conservation Commission for review and approval prior to execution of work. And you can mandate that that's stamped by a structural engineer that provides the design. And you can also mandate in the order of conditions that that there will be that whatever wall design has to be in the footprint of disturbance on our site plan. That if they, for whatever reason, wanted to design a wall that expands beyond that, we would either need to come in for request for minor project change or even a request for amendment to order of conditions. But we're confident that they can remain in the footprint that we show on the plan.
Stefania, what does the bylaw say for the height of a retaining wall? I thought it was 4 feet.
I'm gonna have to get our bylaw up and see. I don't know if it mentions height of retaining wall. I'll have to look into that.
I thought there was a maximum of 4 feet for some reason. I don't know why that's
Um,
sticking in my head, but
I know that after a certain height, it does have to get a permit from the building department. Maybe that's what you're
maybe
thinking of.
that is what I'm thinking about. But I could have swore I read somewhere that the retaining wall could not be more than 4 feet.
can
If
take a
it's
look
in
at
the
that.
no build zone.
Is that under bylaw or zoning? You know,
I'm not really sure. I just remember reading something about 4 feet on retaining walls.
Right. Well, as an industry standard, 4 feet is the maximum height at which, like a civil engineer or a landscape contractor can build a wall before it requires a structural engineer. I don't know exactly what industry standard that is or what, I think it's a state regulation. Anything over 4 feet needs to be designed and stamped by structural engineer. So civil firms can't do them.
Again, like I said, I'm not sure, but I remember reading something somewhere that said something about 4 feet. Because I have no problem with what you're doing. I just want to make sure that the retaining wall meets the specifications of whether it's the bylaw or whether it's something else. You know what I mean? Or zoning. I don't
Yep.
know.
Oh, it's a valid question, absolutely. And we don't want anything permitted that would contradict another municipal ordinance. So, yep, we want to get it right.
You know, we might have to give Stefania a day or two to find this. So I don't know how comfortable we are to continue to the next meeting.
I'd say from the applicant's perspective, I mean, we really are pushing to move forward with this, just given the time of year. I understand that the commission's position, but I'd hate to come to find out that we continued a public hearing that could have closed tonight just to find out that a 4-foot wall is permissible and that we've, you know, kicked this another hearing out just to validate that.
I'm looking at our bylaw right now.
Okay.
I know, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I know anything over 4 feet has to be designed by a structural engineer, correct?
He just stated that.
Okay.
The only thing our bylaw mentions about retaining walls is that in reference to the no build zone, they are not considered a structure.
Okay.
There's no other mention of retaining walls in the bylaw.
Okay. Then I'm good with that. So,
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm thinking here.
Oh, I was just going to say that, and again, I'm just thinking of conditional language that you guys could also provide as disclaimers that the condition is that you guys receive for review and approval the wall before construction. That's another stopping gap that if for some reason it's not permissible, it invalidates the order of conditions. So you can even write that.
Right. I think that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
again, this is a public hearing. Brian, did anybody call?
No calls.
Okay. So first thing I'll do is I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. I'm thinking here. You have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Conditional language.
Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. Now, we're going to need a motion to approve notice of intent. Patricia Donahue, Live Life Homes, 60 Shawshene Street, map 112, lot 69, DEP number, I had it here a minute ago.
305-1110.
1110, 305-1110. A motion to approve with the standard order of conditions. And Stefan, you have to add some other conditions to that?
So the only thing I recommended is 2 sets of erosion controls, and they have that on the plan. So
Okay,
and then also if we want to include the condition for design of the retaining wall to be provided to the agent prior to construction.
yes, we need that in the motion. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Be well. Thank you.
Okay, you too. That's that pile. All right, now I gotta figure out which one we're on here. Okay. We're on item G, a continued public hearing, notice of intent, Andrew Cole, National Grid. 339 Transmission Line Row Map and Lot 49 through 34, 78 through 35, and 103-2, DEP number 3051109. And is she here for that one?
Hello, this is Allison Millman from BSC
Okay.
Group. I'm here on behalf of New England Power.
Okay, this is the one that we were just waiting for a DEP number on, correct? Or is this a new
That
one?
was my understanding. So I had presented at the first hearing in March, on March 4th. But I discussed the project. There was 8 soil borings located in wetland and riverfront area, with all impacts being temporary from the placement of construction mats and the 4 to 6 inch boreholes.
Okay,
we did have, we were waiting on the DEP number, sir.
That's what we were waiting on, the DEP number. Is there anybody in the public that'd like to speak? Since it is a public hearing. And we'll wait. Brian, just give me the high sign when we're ready.
Will do. And the live stream is caught up.
Okay. Board members, do you have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have none.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, so this should go pretty quickly. We need a motion to close the public hearing. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Now I need to entertain a motion for notice of intent, Andrew Cole. Again, doesn't look like Andrew, even on the TV. Andrew Cole, National Grid, 339 Transmission Line Row, map in lot 49 through 34, 78 through 35, and 103-2, DEP number 3051109. Have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, dear. Okay,
Thank you.
you're going to stay here. I'm sure you are. Okay, item H, request for non-substantial change order of conditions. This is not a public hearing, is it, Stefania?
No, it is not.
Okay, so this is for Andrew Cole, National Grid, 394-397 Transmission Line Row, map 36, lot 2, DEP 3051105. Okay. You're up, Allison.
Okay. Hello again. This is Allison Millman from BSC Group on behalf of New England Power. I'm here to present on a non-substantial change to an existing order of conditions. Since the order was issued by your commission for the soil borings associated with the 394-397 project, engineering has determined that one of the locations, which was originally permitted, which was required at structure 5, is no longer required, but instead they are requiring soil borings at the existing structures 2 and 3 on the 397 transmission line. So we have provided updated map showing the removal of the temporary construction mats required for access to the soil borings at structure 5, and the addition of the temporary construction matting proposed to access structures 2 and 3. Access to both of those structures will be gained from the Power Company Road, which is adjacent to the existing Tewksbury substation. And a net result of this change in scope will actually cause a reduction of temporary impacts associated with the project, approximately 1,000 square feet. They'll be reduced from 21,229 square feet to 20,220 square feet. So we respectfully ask that this minor project change please be approved by the commission so the soil boring activity can move forward.
Stefania, any issues?
No, I don't have any issues. I think if presented with the original notice of intent, it wouldn't have changed how the commission made a decision.
Right. Board members?
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the request for a non-substantial change to order of conditions Andrew Cole, National Grid 394-397 Transmission Line Row, map 36, lot 2, DEP number 3051105. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Seconded.
All those in favor? Oh, well, Mr. McMullen,
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
and chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too. Be safe. Okay, what's next? All right, okay. Next is item I. It's a continued public hearing request for amended order of condition. Sinacopia, Tewksbury LLC, South Street, map 109-70, 1057 South Street, behind map 108, lot 35, and 71 Serenity Road, behind map 108, lot 34, DEP number 3051069. This is a public hearing too. Is anybody here for that?
Yes. Hi, everyone. This is Rob Bukowski from Wood, representing Sincarfa.
Mhm.
Brian, if I could, I'd like to share my screen. See, I
Sure.
can do
It's
that.
actually Jason tonight. Jason, you mind making Rob a presenter, please?
Nope, I've got it. It looks like you already set me up. All right. Can everybody see what I'm showing on the screen here?
I don't see anything.
I can't.
I'm not seeing anything.
Nothing? All right, hang on.
There it goes.
Okay,
Good.
here we go. So this is for the solar project on the closed landfill off of South Street. Some of you may remember we were back in 2018 originally for this. And really what's changed since then, this is sort of an overall aerial view. Obviously, it doesn't show the array because it's an existing conditions plan. But I can bring up some project drawings here just to refresh everybody's memory. This is an overall plan. I realize the scale is kind of large, so it's hard to see, but here's South Street. The intent was to access the site for construction and operations to the existing gravel road that's located to the north of the site. However, the town has not been able to successfully negotiate an agreement with the landowner here. So Sincarfa's had to go back and look at an alternative option for access for both construction and operation. So this area here is called the garage storage area, or the GSA. This is off the landfill cap, and this is the northern lobe, and these dark rectangles represent where the panels will go, and then this is the southern lobe. So the initial intent and what was included in the previous application back in 2018 was that access would be off of South Street. There's actually 2 access points here, one to this site. It would be off the existing access road for the garage storage area, and then off of the abutters access road to construct both the northern and southern lobe. Since they haven't been able to negotiate an agreement, what we did was redesign some of the access roads. So I'll go back up to this figure here. So this shows the locations of the proposed new roads. You can see this where it says proposed northwest access road here. So the proposal that's included in what's in front of you is access off of South Street, and then continuing to the existing access road, and then coming up the west side of the northern lobe. From there, the existing access roads would be used, and there'd be additional access down the east side of the northern lobe, down over the existing access road, and there's an existing crossing over Sutton Brook to get up to the southern lobe. So the reason we refiled is because a portion of this northwest access road, which is the lower part here, is in the floodplain. And there's a bit of this crossing here that's also in the floodplain. So really it's pretty minor changes. I'll pull this table up that compares what we had previously with what we have now. So in 2018, we had a total volume of work proposed in bordering land subject to flooding or the flood zone of 953 cubic feet, and what's proposed now is 1,185 cubic feet. So it's a fairly minor change. Stefania and I discussed this along with my colleague Emily Gardner, and she felt that the best approach was to request a modified order conditions. But overall, the plan is pretty much the same. The size of the array is pretty much the same. One thing Sincarfa did as part of this was actually move the array outside of the flood zone. So that's been included as part of this. But overall, as these numbers show, it's fairly minor. It's just that portion of the northwest access road, along with a little bit of a change, and actually the change over the Sutton Brook crossing is a little bit less. We've been able to modify the approach for the electric conduit coming down and across and connecting to the rest of the array to actually reduce a little bit of the volume within that. But all that work on the crossing is actually on top of the existing precast structure. I think that pretty much covers everything.
Okay, Stefania, any issues?
No, I have nothing to add. I've been in communication with them about the project to make sure the flood storage looked good for the amount of floodplain that would be lost, and everything kind of checks out.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anybody in the public like to speak? Brian, we're going to leave it up to you. Just interrupt me if somebody does call in, and I'll go to Mr. Sheehan. Do you have any questions?
Sure. Do you mind actually just saying the number out there real quick? Just because people might not be able to see it on the screen, the call-in number.
What is the number? I don't see it.
Oh, sorry,
I
Jason.
have
Do you
it.
mind? Okay.
The number is 978-771-0819.
Okay, so that's out there. So while we wait for any phone calls coming in, Mr. Sheehan, you have any comments?
No, I have no questions.
Mr. McMullen, any comments?
No questions.
Mr. Ronan, any comments?
No comments.
Okay, and I have no comments. So just give us the high sign.
Will do. I think it's about 30 seconds behind.
Okay. Are we good?
Yes, we should be good.
Okay. So this was the this is a public hearing. Okay, so I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I need a second.
Second.
Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan,
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan,
Aye.
chair votes aye as well. Good luck to you and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh,
Good night.
wait.
What did we forget?
So we just
Oh,
did
we
the
just
public
closed the
hearing.
public hearing. Now we have to vote. Okay, let me see. I need a motion to approve request for amended order of conditions. Sinacopia, Tewksbury LLC, South Street, map 109-70, 1057 South Street, behind map 108, lot 35 and 71, Serenity Road, behind map 108, lot 34, DEP number 3051069. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. All right, we're on item K now. Something's beeping. Extension of permit for order of conditions, Town of Tewksbury, multiple locations, DEP number 3051040. Stefania, can you give us a little heads up on this thing?
So this is for a project that was approved like 2.5 years ago now for the this emergency sewer. Let me get the wastewater pump station emergency generator project. So they are just looking for a 2-year extension, and their original order of conditions is going to expire November 16th of 2020. So if we approve the 2-year extension, it would be for November 16th, 2022. And I have no problems with the extension.
Okay, neither do I. Board members, any issues?
I have no
Mr.
question, Chairman.
Mr. McMullen,
No questions.
Mr. Ronan.
No questions.
Okay, and I have no questions. So I need to entertain a motion to the extension of the permit for order of conditions, Town of Tewksbury, multiple locations, DEP number 3051040 to November 16th, 2022. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye.
And chair votes aye as well. That ends that one. Now we're on to, we didn't miss anything, did we, Stefania?
No,
I don't
that
think- I
was
don't-
all of the items.
Okay, we have any old business? Hearing none. Any new business? Okay, I do have one thing for new business. I'm contemplating, we did miss a meeting a couple of weeks ago because of this thing. And I just want to throw it out to the board. If need be, can we meet at an extra meeting on April 29th? Just in case. I don't want to get backed up because we have everything continued. So if you get any new things, we might not need to do it, but I just want to throw it out there to see what the board, how the board feels. Because our next meeting is on what, the 15th? You're shaking your
Yes.
head, but you're not
Yes.
saying yes. Okay, so I don't know how you feel about that. We can take it up at the next meeting because since we are under the governor's special conditions there, whatever it is, I just want to keep that date open just in case, because we are coming into a season of construction. Whether or not that's going to happen is beyond me. I just don't want to have item A to Z on the agenda. Any feelings?
Mr. Chairman, whatever we need, we need
Okay.
to, I'll be there.
Yep, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Okay, and this is a just in case. We might not need it, but as I see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are already continued, and I don't know what's coming down the pike. I don't know if Stefania can give us any insight if she has any applications or anything coming in. Well, you
So
really
I-
can't because nobody can come in.
Well, actually, people are can submit applications, so we are still taking applications. I do have one that I know is coming tomorrow for my deadline.
Okay.
It's possible I'll get more, but typically people check with me before they drop off. So as of right now, I'm only expecting one additional application.
Okay, so we can still leave that date open if we need be.
Yep.
Okay, so the other thing is, how did you make out with the advertising in the paper? Have we figured that out yet?
So I haven't had to advertise since everything has happened. I will have to make a legal notice tomorrow, and I'm going to work with Steve Sadwick on the language of that to see what we should include for that.
Okay.
But I'll be working on that tomorrow with him.
All right, okay, so what else we got last? Administrative reports, do you have anything?
No, I just want to say thank everyone for their patience. I know this is not normal, but things are kind of changing every day. I'll try to keep the commission updated on new things that come up. I know that I will have permits that will need signatures, but we might need to
I think that
change the way we do those.
I think I watched a planning board meeting the other night, and I think you just need the chairman's signature. You can check what Miss.
Yeah, so
can-
it's different for wetlands because it specifically states in the Wetlands Protection Act, you must have a quorum of signatures.
Okay,
And then the Registry of Deeds requires a wet signature, so it can't be electronic. So it's
Okay.
a talk within the whole kind of the state and the conservation commissions on what they're going to do for signatures. So it's something I'll kind of keep listening to different webinars that I am listening in on and get the best advice from all the other commissions and see what they're doing.
and I have one last thing, and I wanted to mention this because it's because of this, people are, and I want to do it for the DPW because they have to deal with the pump stations. People are flushing stuff down the toilet that shouldn't be flushed down the toilet. And if anybody's listening, toilet paper goes down the toilet, not the baby wipes, because apparently pumps are getting clogged and everything else like that. I just wanted to put that out there just in case anybody happened to be watching other than us 5. So that's all I have. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And I want to thank Jason and Brian for their help.
I also want to thank him, and you did a nice
Yes,
job.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Okay, say now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Mr. McMullen, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Ronan, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Sheehan, how do you vote?
Aye, and good night.
Good night.
And chair votes aye, and also good night and be safe.